Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope you people can hear me now. And here in this end, Vishnu. And today I'm going to facilitate the sessions. And as you know, we are organizing this event from last October 16th of October. And as we planned, it is going to be a 3-day event. Sunday, 3 Sundays in October 16th, 23, and 13th. And how we are organizing this just prior to the COP27, that's our UN climate conference. So this will give you an insight about the COP27, and we believe so, and we can hear the voice of the different people, especially the youth delegates from different part of the world. And we selected the youth delegates who are really capable of giving talks in internationally, and those who want to speak or communicate with the people. Okay, and last time we had four delegates from India and other part of the country, and today also we have eight delegates today. And actually, I'm really thank you for their dedications to join with us and join with us in this event. Mhm. And for today, we have our first delegate. He is from he's a youth from Africa, and his name is Dusim Dangus. I believe so. I'm a bit confused with the pronouncing his name, and I think he is already present here today. Uh, are you there, Dusim Dangus? Actually, he's a Francian youth from Africa, and he has been inspired by the Office of Justice, Peace, and Integrity to create uh, Francisms to bright future institutions by planting trees and standing for climate justice in order to save our environment. And they are mobilizing youth from different regions to participate in protection of the environment and fight for the climate justice. Now, I would like to invite him for the sessions. Over to you, sir. Hello? I hope he already joined the sessions. Let me remind him. Hello? I think he is not there, not available. Let me connect with him. So, in meanwhile, I would like to invite Jafrin. Jafrin, the second delegate of the session today, and I hope he can come forward and give the delegation. And actually, I would like to give a brief introduction about Jafrin as well. Jafrin Algamari is a climate change professional within 6+ years of leadership experience and graduated in politics, philosophy, and economics. And she has significant expertise in managing the internal and external communications in the climate change industry with extraordinary problem solving skills and cross functions and team management and ability to work under the pressure. She has expertise in the preparing communication materials ranging from mails to PR releases. And her career objectives is to solve the environmental problems and changes herself to add value to an organizational missions and vision. And now I can see her in our group. So now I would like to invite her for the sessions. Over to you, Jaffer. She's from
Hello.
Bangladesh. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. So how can should I share the slides or
Yeah. Now I will stop my slide sharing, so you can share that.
okay.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is visible for us. Thank you so much. And can you make that full screen or slideshow
Yes,
mode?
I can
So
see your screen. Okay. Okay, so you can see, right?
yes, yes. And please do that as a slideshow.
Okay. Okay. So, hello everyone. Thank you for the session. So, we are going to. I'm going to talk about the SDG and this implication on Bangladesh. As I'm from Bangladesh, I feel that the SDG has like the SDG. We have achieved a few SDG, and what are the expectations of SDG from our country? So we generally the SDGs are the UN agenda that we are
Excuse me,
trying.
Jaffrine.
Yes.
Excuse me. Can you make that as full screen? Now it is not full screen. And can you just go to the note? You see the notes, comments, right? And just after that, there is a slideshow mode.
Okay.
Notes, comments, and then
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
after two.
Right. Can you see?
Actually, next to the zoom, just before the zooming, there is a button as to make this as a slideshow. Yeah, where we can. Okay. It is not slideshow mode.
Okay.
Slideshow. It is not slideshow yet. But it's fine. Yeah, you can go ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
Is it coming now? Okay. So this is the agenda 17 goals that we are trying to achieve by 2030. So the dimensions are economic, social, and environmental dimensions. We are plan. So SDGs are generally we have 169 targets and 232 indicators to be achieved by 2030. So it is a framework for collaborative partnerships between countries and stakeholders. As we this agenda this SDG is going to be achieved so that we can help the people, planet, and prosperity be there for by 2030. And so the SDGs are global in nature and universally applicable, taking into account the different national realities, capacities and levels of development, and respecting national policies and priorities. So we are like when we are doing this SDG, we are also looking to see like how it can be achieved according to the capacity of Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is eighth most populous country and it has the GDP of $324.2 billion, which is quite high compared to other South Asian countries. It is a Muslim majority country and it has arrived like after East Pakistan after the liberation war, and we have made a history in terms of economic and by having the largest garment exporters, and we also have a, like have a resident site for refugees due to the Rohingyas genocide and all. So after a lot of economic and social aspects, we can see that our country has achieved some success from the MDGs, which is Millennium Development Goal. So when we see the successes, it gives an inspiration for us to achieve the SDGs as soon as possible by 2030. So our MDG is we have been able to achieve poverty alleviation target 3 years before the stipulated time, and we could increase the rate of primary education enrollment. Also, we could improve the maternal health care and infant mortality rate. So, as you can see, the graph that we have met a few goals, and we were on track, and we have achieved some success from MDGs. So when it comes to SDGs, we are making some progress. So the progress, like for SDG 1, it's no poverty. So the progress in reducing extreme poverty is measured by $1.9 a day, or by national poverty line, which is setting the benchmark to ensure that extreme poverty is reduced. Then SDG 2, zero hunger, we are trying to progress on reducing the the stunting, which stood at 36.1% in 2014, and it is on the track at the current rate of reduction. So, which now is like after calculation, a lot of calculations, it came to 14.3%, and which shows that it is still on track when it comes to SDG 2. SDG 3, good health and well-being. So we have achieved a few targets like maternal health and child-related indicators. Um, um, and yeah, so then we could continue to the other SDG 4, which is gender parity index, which shows that people girls are even though like after the COVID, girls education have reduced, but it's still at high one level, like according to gender parity index, for more than a decade. Then SDG 5, proportion of women aged 20 to 24 were married before age 15, and it has even though like after the COVID, it has reduced a bit. Um, and then a quarter of women's daily time is spent on the work, like the female members are in the parliament are working to reduce the women getting married before the age of 15 or 20 by 20.557% in 2017. And then Bangladesh ranks 48 in global ranking of countries, which is promoting women empowerment compared to other South Asian countries. So SDG 6 is clean water and sanitation. Safe water is being made available for all rural and urban population, and this access to sanitary latrines has increased by 100% and 90% for rural population. Then SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. Bangladesh is moving fastly towards the ensuring access of 100% to electricity, and it reached 85.3% in 2017. But despite all, the country lags behind in this other energy indicators, so we are still making a bit of progress. And then when it comes to SDG 8, we are decent work and economic growth. Bangladesh has made an upward shift in the average annual growth rate to more than 7% in the recent years. So when the GDP is high, we can see that we are ensuring that young people who are not employed or not in education, then to increase about 30% in the next following years. And the NEET exam not in employment is kind of the proportion of youth female is closer to 50%, and it's getting high a bit. So we also, so despite the economic growth, we are working on this education for unemployed people. Then SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. The road density per 100 square kilometers increased to 14.61 kilometers in 2017 from 14.41 kilometers. So the sharing of manufacturing added value in GDP has increased to exceeding the milestone and for SDG 9. Then SDG 10, reduce inequality. Income inequality has increased, while consumption inequality has remained relatively stable. For SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, which is 44% of the urban population are living in purely temporary structure, and 29% are living in semi-permanent structures. And then SDG 12, we could see that an estimated 10% of crop productivity in Bangladesh is lost during the post-harvest operation. So kind of the food is wasted. 5.5% of the total procured food is wasted. And
Jeffrey, hello. I hope you can hear me now. Actually, your slides
yes,
are not moving, and because we are still in the second slide, can you just check that? Yeah, that one.
can you see?
Yes, but now, yeah, now the number changed, but it is not in the slideshow mode. But fine. Yeah,
Okay,
please remember whenever you move to next slide, just we are seeing your exact slides. Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So SDG 13, climate action. The number of deaths, missing people, and directly affected people attributed to disasters have fallen over the years. Now it stands at 12,881 with a target of 6,500 by 2020 and 1,500 by 2030. So SDG 14 is life below water. The protected area is now 2.05% of the marine area. So many successes have been achieved in Hilsa mass protection with production which is doubling in the last 15 years. Then SDG 5, life on land, the forest coverage of the country now stands at 17.5%, which is targeted to increase to 20% by 2020. SDG 16, the peace and justice, the number of victims of intentional homicide reduced significantly from baseline values, and appropriate measures have been taken by the government of Bangladesh to improve the human trafficking and youth mental and physical abuse. For SDG 17, Partnership for the Goals, it's critically dependent on the availability of resources, including and external resources. So, the need for enhanced international cooperation and support have been emphasized for achieving 41 of the 169 targets of SDG. The international community will have to provide adequate and timely support to Bangladesh so that we can implement a comprehensive and all-encompassing development agenda like SDG 2030. So the major challenges that we are we are facing for achieving SDG is climate change. As the report has been said by Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that sea level rise is going to threaten the coastal and deltaic rice production areas in Asia, mostly in Bangladesh and Mekong River Delta. So it will face quite an amount of cost. So it's kind of a challenge. Is being a serious threat to Bangladesh in achieving the SDG. Second challenge is financial challenge. That is how much amount of finance is being used for implementing to achieve SDGs. So the investment has increased from $5 trillion to $7 trillion. So we need to increase to $7 trillion per year to by 2030. So the recommendations came up with is government can take initiatives for the major challenges. Policymakers can also make changes to the policies so that they can be a bit more lenient because of the public health crisis COVID-19 that has taken place. And Bangladesh can also work on more targets and indicators by having more promising development organizations. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much, Jafrin, for that overview about the sustainable development goals in the in your country, Bangladesh. And I hope your country is doing quite well in achieving sustainable development goal by 2030. And I think you went through all sustainable development goals and how your the government is make the policies to achieving it. Great, great work. And yeah, I would like to hear one more comments from you. Like, what is your expectations? Like, what your country's expectations in the upcoming COP27? Um, and how that will support your country to achieve the global goals. Because we are
Um,
just near the COP27, right? So if
yeah.
you could give a comment on it, it will be really great.
To achieve the SDGs, there can be many steps we can take. Development organizations can take initiatives, introduce different projects to like keeping in mind the SDGs and also having a look at how some of the goals are being difficult to achieve, perhaps due to COVID-19 pandemic or other factors, and considering those factors, they can think about making changes or implement those policies or how they want to achieve the SDGs and how they want to contribute to the like Bangladesh achieving SDGs as soon. And they can also collaborate with other stakeholders like government, investors, and policymakers, so that they can have an idea, so that they can have more support and support and financial support, as well as other infrastructural support, so that they can continue with the progress that we are trying to achieve in some of the SDGs. And if we want to achieve more goals of like more of them, like for example, when it comes to SDG 4, girls education have reduced because of COVID-19. So we also need to have a look at what steps
Yes.
different stakeholders can take to reduce to make sure that we are at the benchmark for the achieving the SDGs.
Okay, thank you
Over
so
to you.
much. Thank you.
Yes.
And I think now we can move to the next delegates. And I think the next delegate who is gathered here is Mr. Payala Srinivas Rao from India. I hope he is ready. Are you ready, Srinivas?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, actually, I would like to give a brief introduction about Srinivas Rao. Actually, he has done his master's in biological science at Yogi Venama University and presently working as a senior technical officer at CPF India Private Limited and in the department of aquafeed formulation research and development section. And today he is going to give a small talk on his research work, I believe. And welcome to you, the session, Srinivas Rao. Yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, Jishnu. I will share my slides now. Now visible my slides, guys.
Uh,
Hello.
not yet. We can see the Google Meet. I hope. Yeah, yeah. Now it is. Yes, it's clear.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for giving a talk on the marine pollution. Thank you, Srinivas.
yeah, yeah. Good evening, all of you. Myself, Srinivas Rao Payala. Today we will discuss about marine pollution. Why focus on marine life and coastal areas? Nearly half of the global population resides in coastal areas. 2 by 3rd of the world's cities are coastal. Goods and services provided by marine coastal ecosystem are worth $13 trillion per annum, which equals to the half of the annual global GDP. So that's why we need to focus on marine ecosystem. Facts on ocean pollution. Our 80% of the pollution in the ocean runs off from the land. Almost 90% of the floating materials in the ocean are plastic. Marine debris, especially plastic, kills more than 1 million seabirds and 1 lakh mammals and sea turtles every year. Dead zones, which are areas or oxygen deficient water where life ceases to exist, have increased drastically over the past decade. Polluted by garbage. At least 40 million tons of the plastic pieces, less than 5 wide, are likely sitting at the bottom of the world's ocean, according to the estimate based on new research. Analysis of ocean sediments from the deep as 3 kilometers suggests there could be more 30 times as much plastic at the bottom of the world's ocean than there is floating at the surface. Researchers looked at 51 samples and found that after excluding the weight of water, each gram of sediment containing an average of 1.26 microplastic in the sample. Microplastics are 5 or less in diameter and are mostly the result of larger plastic items breaking apart into the smaller pieces. Stemming the tide of plastic entering the world waters and the ocean emerged as a major international challenge. The majority of garbage that enters the ocean each year is plastic and had to stay. That's because, unlike other trash, the single use plastic bags, water bottles, drinking straws, and yogurt containers, totaling some 8 million metric tons of the plastic items we toss, would not biodegrade. So instead, they can persist the environment for a millennium, polluting our beaches, entangling marine life, and getting eaten by fish, whales, and sea turtles. Garbage on sea. The fate of our seas is not only up to the government or industry. Our individual daily action matters too. You can start by reducing water pollution and runoff at the home, being more mindful of your plastic consumption, or organizing cleanups of our local waterway. Once a total gobbles 14 pieces of plastic, the mortality rate jumps to the 50%. Another report mentioned an animal eats 200 pieces of plastic, death is imminent. The researchers estimate that 52% of sea turtles across the globe we have some plastic in their guts. But plastic ingestion rates are different around the world. Researchers found 54% of the post-hatching turtles and 23% of juvenile turtles had plastic inside of them, compared to the 16% of adult turtles. Now, some species of turtles now endangered species. Sea turtles are suffering due to the poachers and
Shin.
plastic pollution.
Dagos. The
Many
Shundagos.
turtles are being tangled in old fishing nets, consuming plastic,
Shundag.
and caught by accidents fishermen. Protecting turtles from human activity could help save our turtles, and despite the legal protection set in the place to protect sea turtles in most countries, hunting turtles for
Shin.
meat still take a place around the world. In the early 50s and 60s, sea turtles poaching was legal in Florida until the EPA was established in 1970, and making sea turtles are emerged endangered species. Oil spills Oil spill have huge and immediate economic and social and environmental impacts. Local people lost their livelihood as fisheries and tourism area are temporarily closed. The cleanup costs are enormous, and tens of thousands of animals and plants are killed or harmed. And the damage goes on. The chemicals used to break up the oil can be toxic, and it's impossible to remove all the spilled oil. Even after our area can be cleaned up, it take a decade or more fully recover. There is also a problem of the spilled oil that goes down with the ship, which can contaminate the seabed and marine organisms. April 2010, an explosion on the oil drilling rig Deepwater Horizon caused by larger marine oil spill in the history, gushing nearly 5 million barrels of crude oil over the course of 3 months. And since the researchers have been hard work at the understand how the oil spill impacted life in the Gulf of Mexico, it's too soon to say whether the ecosystem is much the red. It's only been 2 years after all, but many researchers have been shocked at the ecosystem's recovery. Now, some pollution occurs from ship accidents too. Some ships transported garbage and waste plastic materials, fertilizers. Run off from the lands and loans is a huge problem of coastal areas. The extra nutrients and cause eutrophication. The runoff kills the algae, which depletes the waters, dissolve oxygen, suffocate other marine life. Eutrophication is the addition of artificial or natural substances such as nitrates and phosphates to the fertilizers or sewage can be to an aquatic system. Eutrophication has created enormous dead zones in several parts of the world, including the Gulf of Mexico and Baltic Sea. Sewage pipes. The many parts of the world, sewage flows untreated or undertreated into the ocean. For example, 80% of urban sewage discharged into the Mediterranean Sea is untreated. The sea can also lead to the eutrophication. In addition, can cause human disease and lead to the beach closures. Too little about talk about our species has a monumental problem disposing its human waste. A recent modeling study finds that wastewater adds around 6.2 million tons of nitrogen to coastal water worldwide per year, contributing significantly to harmful algal blooms, eutrophication, and ocean dead zones. Human waste, including pharmaceutical, even microplastics, microplastics contained in feces and urine, is a public health hazard, causing disease outbreaks and putting biodiversity at risk. Sewage is impacting estuary fish nurseries, coral reefs, and sea grasses, a habitat that stores CO2, acting as a buffer against climate change. This is one of the picture of sewage pipes. Chemicals accumulate in organisms, become concentrated in their bodies and in the surrounding water or soil. These animals are in turn eaten by larger animals, which can travel large distances with with an increased
Right,
chemical load.
selective science for sustainable
People
development goals
become
to follow
contaminated either
cycles
directly
of
from
climate
household
evolution.
products or by eating contaminated seafood and animal fats. Evidence is mounting that a number of man-made chemicals can cause serious health problems, including cancer, damage to the immune system, behavioral problems, and reduced fertility. This is one of the chemicals wastewater directly connected to the creek. What you can do reduce plastic pollution. Switch to the reusable products, and supermarket shoppings produce the
So
bags and
infinite
use reusable water bottles. Switch to the natural fabric rather than plastic synthetics. Refuse the plastic straws if you offered with a drink, and ask a restaurant for composable packaging, plates and foods. Ban problematic consumer products like plastic bags and polythene like that, and clean up, recover lost fishing gear, organize and local beaches and recover cleanups. And my opinion is please reduce the plastic and save our environment and save our oceans too. Thank you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, Srinivas, for your talk on the marine pollution. And as you know, especially the United Nations, is celebrating this decade, especially 2020 to 2030, as a decade of ocean sciences for the sustainable development. And it is very significant to take care about the health of the oceans. And he just gave a talk on how the oceans are polluted and what are the different medium that make the oceans more pollutant in our current scenario. So thank you so much for that one. And I saw some of the rising hands in the chat box, and do they have any questions to the delegates? Or yeah, like Sumitra's Asha and Dumin, three rising hands. And do they have any questions to the delegates, or just raise the hands accidentally? Sumitra, are you there? Asha. Yeah, okay, Muhammad, he raised his hands just now. And do you have anything to the delegates? Do you have any questions?
No.
Yeah, okay, okay. Then anyone else who are in the queue? Muhammad, I saw you are raising hands. Do you have any questions to the delegate? I think no. And then I hope we can move to the delegates. Next delegate. Actually, we have our delegate number one. That's Dushmi, sorry, Dushmin, and he is a Francian youth from Africa, and he has been inspired by the Office of Justice, Peace and Integrity to create a Francian for bright future institutions by planting trees and standing for the climate justice in order to save our environment. And they are mobilizing youth from different regions to participate in protecting the environment and fight for the climate justice. Now, I would like to invite uh, Mr. Dushing from Africa. I hope he is ready to give the talk. Are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm there.
Yeah, yeah, please. Over to you, sir.
Uh, do you hear me?
Yes, can you please share your slides?
What?
Can you please share your slides?
Okay, okay. Uh, I'm the Shine that Desire. Sometimes my name is really hard. I'm the Shim Dag Desire from Burundi. I'm Francisca Mew from Africa. I'm a leader of Francisca Youth in our country, Burundi. And uh, I've been inspired by Office of Justice and Peace located in Kenya, Nairobi. In that office, the vision of that office is to make justice and peace for human beings and especially children. And also, we do not forget about climate justice. Because of that, I've been inspired how to take care of our environment, our Mother Earth, especially by planting trees. The world without trees is worse. So that's why I've done a research about youth and climate change in our country, especially in Burundi, because Burundi is my motherland. Uh, You know, young people constitute a large part of world population. Everyone knows that young people are so many, and many youth are particular vulnerable to environmental risk because many of them are not aware of environment matters. So many children do not know about environment. Only others will know about the risk of environment. And no, children, they have to live so many years because they are so young. It is better you and the young children know the place they have in environment matters. Young people can play an active role in protecting and improving better environment. They have to know that they can change their lifestyles through protecting environment and sustaining it. They can make their homes, schools, and youth organizations more environmental friendly, practicing recycling and the different materials as preserving resources such as water, trees, and electricity. The world without trees, the world without water, the world without electricity doesn't matter. It's like how can we call that word?
Actually, hello, excuse me,
You
and hello, can you hear me? Like, you shared with us some of the slides, right? Can you share that slides with the participants?
what?
You share a slide with
I
us.
have said,
Yeah, can you share that slide with us? Then only it will be more clear to the
yeah,
participants.
I've shared my PowerPoint. Have
Uh,
you gotten it?
yeah, can you share that again here?
Oh, again here.
Yes, we are expecting your
Hello?
slides here. Yes.
Okay, by email or by this.
No, no, in the Google Meet. Can you share your slides and can you deliver the lecture? Then it will be more convenient for the people to understand you.
Okay, okay. Let me try if I get it. Maybe another person may continue. Let me see how I can share it.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So, I think he will come with his slides sooner. Actually, all the delegates, please keep in mind that you should share your PPT during you deliver the lecture. Otherwise, it will be quite harder for the participants to understand what you are saying. Okay, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Then
okay, okay.
now I would like to invite one Indian delegate as Siaram Meena to deliver his lecture. I hope you are ready to give the talk. Are you?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, and please
Thank you for
keep in
inviting
mind
me.
that share your slides. Okay,
Yes,
and
definitely I will say.
yes, and I will give you a small introduction about you before I start the sections. And who is that? Somebody shared his slide, and others who join here don't share your screens unless the participant or unless the delegates. Who is that? Yeah. Okay then. So sorry for that one. And now about the Siaram Meena, and he's from India, and he's doing his PhD from ENCORE, Delhi, and Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. And now over to you. Then you can share your slides now, and you can present what you have to
Yes, yes. I
speak
am
with the
sharing.
blog here. Yeah. Thank you.
Slides are visible. Hello.
Siaram, yeah, yes, your slides are visible. Okay, yeah, yes, your slides was visible earlier. Yeah, go to your slides page. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, yeah, it's good. Now we can see your
Okay.
slides.
I welcome you all. I'm Sierra Mina, PhD research scholar in the Division of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, Indian Council of Agricultural Research, Indian Agricultural Research Institute, New Delhi. And I'm here to present my research work on the topic of assessment of modified clays and red mud for the arsenic immobilization into the contaminated system. So the arsenic is the class first human carcinogens, which has been identified as the second most important global health concern in the groundwater and contamination after contamination by the pathogenic organisms. And more than 70 countries are reported with the natural arsenic contamination, posing a health and a serious health hazard to estimated 1.5 million people, around the 110 million of which live in the Bangladesh, Colombia, China, India, and many more countries. And more than 90% of the total groundwater in the West Bengal is affected by the arsenic contamination. So, for the remediation of the arsenic contamination into the soil and the water, clay are known for their excellent absorption properties, and due to their low cost, worldwide distribution, and the superior physiochemical properties like high specific surface area, ion exchange capacity, and mechanical stability, clay mineral have also found widespread research attention in the remediation of the metals and metalloid into the water and soil. So we also use the red mud for the remediation of the arsenic into the soil and water system. So red mud, now more frequently termed bauxite residue, and it is an industrial waste generated during the processing of the bauxite into the alumina using the Bayer process, and it is composed of various oxide compounds, including the iron oxide, which give its red color. And over the 95% of the alumina produced globally is through the Bayer process only. And for every ton of the alumina produced, approximately 1 to 1.5 ton of the red mud are also produced as a waste. So the annual production of the alumina in 2020 in the India was over the 133 million ton, resulting in the generation of the 1.175 million ton of the red mud. So due to this high level of the production of the red mud and the material high alkalinity in the nature, if not stored properly, it can pose a significant environment hazard to us. So the as a result, significant effort is being invested in finding better methods for safe storage and dealing with it, such as waste valorization, in order to create useful material for the cement and the concretes. So the environmental health hazards of the red mud. The discharge of the red mud can be hazardous environmentally because it is alkalinity and species component. And in 1972, there was a red mud discharge of the coast of the Corsica by the Italian company Montenegro, and the case is imported in the international law governing the Mediterranean Sea. And in October 2010, approximately 1 million cubic meter of the red mud slurry from an alumina plant near the in the Hungary was accidentally released into the surrounding countryside. In the Akja alumina plant accident, killing 10 people and contaminating a large area. And all life in the Markle River was said to have been exhausted by the red mud and within the day, and the red mud have reached the Dunel. And the long-term environmental effect of the spill have been minor after a 127 million remediation effort by the Hungarian government. So we prepared the five different type of the product for our study to remediate the arsenic into the soil or water system. We prepare the iron modified kaolinite and the bentonite by using this method, and dimethyl sulfoxide modified kaolinite and bentonite by using this method. And then we prepare the iron modified red mud by using the iron chloride under the stirring condition till the pH of the final slurry of the red mud was at 0.0. Then we characterize the different product as unmodified and the modified by using the pH, specific surface area, and the cation exchange capacity. And we found that after modification of the clays and the red mud, the pH of the red mud was reduced drastically to the 8.0, and the specific surface area of the all the products was increased. So in case of the XRD pattern of the unmodified and the modified clays and red mud, we can compare the unmodified and modified products. And by using the images of the different clay and the red mud product, also we can compare the uh, characterize compare and characterize the modification of the products. So now come to the absorption efficiency of the functionalized clay and red mud for the arsenic absorption into the water and the soil. So we took the 5 microgram ml of the arsenic concentration and the 120 solid solution ratio, and the different time and different pH and different temperature we took in the three replication 3. So we can see that the effect of time on arsenic absorption onto different unmodified and modified clay and the red mud, with increasing the time from the 10 minutes to the 120-minute, amount of the arsenic absorbed microgram per gram of the absorbent was increased with increasing the time. And highest amount of the arsenic absorption was found in case of the sorry iron bentonite and iron red mud, and lowest amount of the arsenic absorption was found in case of the unmodified kaolinite. And here we can see that the estimated kinetic model parameter for arsenic absorption on different product in the aqueous medium, and we found that highest amount of the arsenic absorption rate was found in case of the DMSO bentonite, and the lowest was found in case of the kaolinite. And initial arsenic concentration was 50 microgram arsenic per ml. And we can see that the effect of pH and temperature on the absorption of the arsenic onto different unmodified and the modified clays and the red mud in the aqueous system. And we found that highest amount of the arsenic absorption was found in case of the 6.2 pH as compared to the 5.0 and the 8.0. And if we're talking about the temperature, then highest amount of the absorption of the arsenic was found in case of the 25 degrees Celsius temperature as compared to the 30 degrees Celsius temperature. And highest amount of arsenic was found absorbed in case of the iron bentonite and the DMSO bentonite. And if we're talking about the absorption efficiency of the arsenic into the contaminated system or contaminated environment, we can see that the highest amount of the absorption efficiency was found in case of the DMSO bentonite. But if we're talking about the desorption percent of the arsenic into the system, then here we can see that the if 25 degrees Celsius temperature will be then highest amount of the absorption was found. But if we increase the temperature as climate change is there, so if the temperature will be increased, then amount of the desorption arsenic will be increased. So now come to the conclusion of the study. The modification of the kaolinite, bentonite, and the red mud resulted in change of the interlayer space lead to enhanced arsenic absorption by increasing the surface area of the product, and the clay product all achieve equilibrium within the 120 minute after and according to the kinetic study were best fitted to the power function and the simple Ilovich equation, and the modified clays and the red mud has less job absorption at high temperature as compared to the low temperature and high pH, that at 0, whereas the amount of arsenic absorption was high at the 25 degrees Celsius temperature. And according to arsenic absorption capability of the iron bentonite, DMSO bentonite, and the iron red mud, the best screen product. So thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentations here today, and
Yes, sir.
that also was
Thank
an
you, sir.
insightful presentation from your side. Thank you. And due to the if any participants have any questions, then you are free to ask to the delegate. Otherwise, we can move to the next delegate. Any questions? So did somebody raise their hands to ask the questions? Please turn on your mic and
Yes,
ask the
please.
questions if you have any. Any questions? Abraham? No. No. Okay then.
Hello.
Uh, yeah. Yes. Do you have any questions to the delegate?
Yes, Abraham.
Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
It's not a question. I just want to request if I can present next.
Okay. Okay. Actually.
Oh, you want to say that? Come next one.
Yeah. I will call the next name for the delegations then. Okay. Next one will be our Edwin because he requested me to me now. So Edwin, are you there? Edwin?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Edwin is a professional economist and majoring in agricultural development. And he was born and raised in Kenya. And having gone through the hardships and poverty in the past years, and he created a new look into the poverty eradications. And he studies more and interact with the people living in the rural area where poverty and food insecurity is tearing people apart and making them life a miserable life. Okay, and now we have our Edwin here today to interact with you. Edwin, over to you. Thank you for joining, and please share your slides.
Okay, I guess you can see my slides.
Yes, and Sia Mina, please can you just left your presentation? So
Yes. Okay, I have shared my slides. It's
yeah, once
United Nations.
yes, I we can see it. Now you can start. Thank you so much.
Okay. So I'm tackling the topic on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals implication in Kenya. And I would start by saying that we have 17 SDGs that are adopted by more than 100 United Nations member nations, which are an urgent call for action by all countries developed and developing in a global partnership. Okay, so first I will focus on food security. We have a number of sustainable development goals, but uh, sh- uh, I will focus on food security status in Kenya. Okay, so food security outlook, we have that food security is terrorizing millions of people in marginal areas. We have crop failure in the marginal agricultural areas and livestock starvation in northern counties. Okay, so for food insecurity terrorizing millions, in our country right now, there is a hunger, and this hunger is brought about by lack of rainfall. The rains have delayed, the short rains delayed, and even the places which they experience rains which were not enough. The rains that you say the country be reliant on are
Uh, Edwin, now your slides
okay.
are not visible to me. Can you make sure that your slides? And request to all the participants, please don't share your slides or share your screen. Okay, whenever the delegate is present,
Because
no one else. Please don't share it. And can you please reshare it? I think somebody else shared the
yeah,
slides.
can you
No.
see
Mm,
food security terrorizing? Can you see?
no.
I share the slides.
Okay. Can. Let to recheck
I
it.
guess you can see them. Okay, so I was talking of food insecurity, terrorizing millions of people in marginal areas. We say the effects of below average rainfall have resulted in deteriorating food security outcomes driven by the impacts of poor crop and livestock production and the
I'm
COVID-19
sorry, but
pandemic.
your slide is not shown, please.
Let me confirm. Let me confirm. Okay, little. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
now
Okay,
you're
there.
showing.
Yeah. Okay. So I was talking of the food insecurity terrorizing millions of Kenyans. Okay. The effects of below average rainfall have resulted in deteriorating food security outcomes driven by the impacts of poor crop and livestock production and the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. So there is a research institute that is referred to as KFSSG. This is Kenya Food Security Steering Group. Okay, this group did analysis and did research on the areas that are affected by food insecurity, and it came to find that there is an increase. There is an increase in the percentage of people who are experiencing food security or who are experiencing hunger. But there is some interventions that have come from the NGOs. We have some sponsorship organizations such as Emergency Hunger Safety Net Program. Okay, so this NGO set up a program that was set to people who have been affected by hunger. They are most of them are in northern Kenya, and northern Kenya is a dry land. It's arid. It's an arid area whereby you can't grow any crop. The only thing they do there is keep animals. You keep livestock, and so due to the drought that has been in Kenya for 3 years, there is no pasture for feeding their livestock. So the communities there are dying of hunger. That's why this program was set, and the people here are receiving aid amounting to $47 every 2 months. This is a little money that can support them for just food, maybe 1 meal per day. There is I talked about the crop failure. The crop failure in the marginal agricultural areas. For those who have been in Kenya, I know most of you are Indians and from other countries. I know you've never been in Kenya. So in Kenya, there is a place, central Kenya, we call Meru County. In Meru County, people practice agriculture, but it's a marginal area such that you may plant when it's rainy. During the rainy season, you can plant and harvest your crops. But when it's a little dry or like now, maybe the rains have delayed due to the climate change and the effect of the greenhouse gases. So this area, people have not been harvesting crops they planted. So it has affected many people. In a household, let's say in a household, here, a family consists of 10. That's an average family, consists of 10 members. Before the change in climate, people that household of 10 people used to have a stock. They plant and harvest some crops, which they put in their barns, in their granaries, or we can call them stores. And this harvest used to sustain them for 1 to 2 months, not for 2 to 4 months. But for now, due to the drought caused by the change of climate, and now the crops that they can harvest can only sustain them from 1 to 2 months. So you can see that a decline. The other thing is livestock starvation in northern counties. I said that in northern counties, people keep livestock because they can't do the normal agriculture. So we have declining forage and water resources of kept livestock in dry season grazing areas and continuing to migrate in search of pasture and water, resulting in conflicts among communities over land resources. Due to starvation, disease, and long trekking distances, declining livestock health has resulted in widespread livestock deaths in pastoral counties. In Marsabit is in northern Kenya, up to 9% of livestock herds are estimated to have died due to drought. Now it has gone to an extent whereby not just livestock are dying, even the wild animals are dying. Yesterday, it was presented that we had lost 100 elephants in the Savo forest, and it's a tourist attraction site whereby people come to see the elephants, the giraffes. I imagine now due to this drought, we have lost a lot of wild animals. So you can see it's a bad thing that is caused by that global change, that climate change. Okay, so the baseline projections assume that normal rain support good agricultural harvest, bringing enough food in our granaries, drive food processing, sustain our export growth, help anchor inflation expectations, and support household consumption. This would be a great relief to the people of our land. So now for me, all I wanted to tell you is that in Africa, uh, the only thing that we lack here is resources. Maybe we can compare Kenya and India. India is a more developed country than Kenya. You attained your independence first, and ours we attained it in 1963. So we have been trying to develop, trying to cope up, and trying to see how we can utilize the little resources that we have. But for now, we can see that it's almost impossible because for the productivity we can't maintain, we don't have the resources. That's why the Egypt's minister for international cooperations, that is Rania Al Mashat. So this minister she's the one who is welcoming us for the COP27, and she's saying that uh, in Africa, what we want is a financial assistance for developing countries. We want that financial assistance. In Kenya, we want a financial assistance so as we can build. Due to the drought now, we can't rely on rainfall. We have to find some other ways in which we can try to bring water in our farms, ways such as irrigation or pipeline. Pipeline is expensive. Connecting pipeline from areas like Mount Kenya, Lake Turkana, and also from Indian Ocean so that we can farm and also provide water to the northern regions. That is expensive and we need some intervention from United Nations members. You come to those rich nations, USA, UK, you come together and help Africa. We are brothers and we can't let your brother die of hunger. Okay, so I would like to relate to what we said. COP26 in last year, COP26, 100 countries agreed to stop deforestation. Okay, so everyone wants to stop deforestation, but they are not implementing it. They are not implementing it in their countries. They just talk of it. When you go to these conferences, they say we don't want deforestation. People should stop cutting trees. But in our respective countries, we are not implementing that. We are seeing people doing illegal logging. People are doing business with trees. They just go. Maybe you cut 5 trees and go and maybe build some houses with the timber from there, or maybe you build some furniture and sell, and you do not replace the trees. So deforestation is still going on in our countries. Okay, and then there was a plan that was raised. It was a plan to reduce coal-fired power generation, and India and China objected. This plan was to bring an end to coal-fired power generation, but I don't know why India and China objected to that. Okay, so as I finish, I would like to say that the Minister of Egypt, the Minister of International Cooperation, Al Mashat, said that we want this COP27 to be about moving from pledges to implementation. What is it that we need to do to operationalize the pledges into implementation? Yeah, the leaders will come, the delegates will come. I don't know if we'll be considered. The ENCORE Foundation, you set a good example, but we don't know if us will be considered. I wish we could be considered so that we can raise our claims, so that we can say the voice, we tell them at least try to functionalize them, try to bring them into action. You can't just say that we stop deforestation and it's still going on in your countries. In Kenya, yes, our president says daily that we stop deforestation, but people are busy cutting trees in forests. Like even now in the morning, when I was going to church, I came across a lorry that was just carrying out the cut trees, and they are not replacing. So I think that I think we should focus on. Thank you. I think I'm through with my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edwin, for giving an insightful talk today. And as you said, or as you concluded, that we are taking pledges every year in the COP-ups, but we are not doing the real action, or whenever it comes to implementations, we are lacking the real action, right? Yeah, you're right. And we are hoping for the best in the upcoming COP27, and the global leaders might take the pledges as well as they implement the suitable projects for achieving that pledges too. And thank you for your talk. So next one, I would like to invite Mr. John from Kenya, and I hope he is already ready with his PowerPoint presentations. Are you there, John? I saw him earlier here. Yeah. Okay. Are
I've
you
got
there?
I've
Yeah.
got a small question to my brother who came just to he's a speaker right now. So
Yeah. Yeah.
can
Okay
you?
then. Please ask the
Okay.
questions to Edwin. Right? Yeah. Please.
Yeah. Okay. So my brother, I want to know what is the solution which you are planning to bring to these issues which is caused to that marginal areas. And secondly, I listened talked about the rich countries financial. Are you sure that the rich country gonna finance in Africa? A part of me, I think the the different solutions at this crisis, climate crisis, it's just to 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 entrepreneur in the what sustainable development. That must give us money and the financial to fight against this climate change. I think so. I'm sorry. My name is DJ Aksanti from DRC. I'm an activist and a social justice and climate activist from here, and a green entrepreneur in my country. So I'm just glad to listen to you for your different speech. It's very good,
Okay.
and I wish you the good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for your questions, and thank you for that one. And now I would like to skip John for a while, and I would like to invite our next speaker. That is, just a second. Yeah, Abraham. Are you ready? Hi, John. Yeah, he came back.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, you are ready. Okay, okay, John. Okay, thank you. And John,
Can you
he's
hear
from
me?
Kenya, and I would like to give a brief introductions before you start, John. Okay, and this is John here today with us, and he's from Kenya, and he's a student at Mount Kenya University and pursuing bachelor's in social work and administrations. He has joined the environmental actions team due to the problems he have witnessed in his academic journey. He has volunteered in many activities and awarded many certificates for different activities that have been um, done in his country. And he was a volunteer of UNESCO Africa, and since the last years, and they awarded a lot of certificate for him for his achievements. John, over to you, and please share your slides.
Mr. Jishnu,
Yeah,
Mr. Jishnu.
yeah.
I'm trying to relocate where I've placed my PowerPoint.
Actually, you can see a rising hand in the Google Meet, right? And next to
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you can share your slide. The present now option is there.
Okay.
Yeah, whenever you move your cursor towards the icon, then you can see the present now, and you can do it.
Look for it.
Yeah, no problem.
Maybe I can present because I'm not seeing it. here with me.
Oh, okay. But are you
Mr.
using?
Jishnu,
Yes. Are you using your
hello.
mobile?
Can I go on? Can I
And
continue?
I don't know. Are you connected through your mobile phone or
No,
your
no, no,
laptop?
no, no.
Your
It's
laptop, right?
on laptop. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, but then it definitely it shows in your screen. Mm.
Let me continue. If I find it, maybe I can share with you.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, okay. Let me continue. So, let me take this opportunity to thank all the organizers of this event. My name is John Ojungo Nyango, delegate from Mother Organization, USESCO Africa, as you have been told by Jishnu. USESCO is an organization here in Kenya dealing with majority of marginalized group and communities in order to bring hope and enhance their well-being. We as Kenya, as we have been told, I'll be touching on Kenya. We are here to try and look at some of the issue which were promised in COP26 with some of our world leaders, which have been achieved and those which are yet to be achieved. Climate issues are songs which we usually sang by majority of the organization and people all over the world, especially in COP summits where all leaders in the world meet to try and discuss some issues which are affecting our countries. As I can remember, during the Paris Agreement, many countries agreed to maintain the 1.5 degrees Celsius. These were due to human activities which were unsustainable to the environment, which were playing a major role in temperature increase. I can say that in Kenya as a whole, we are trying to put up every measures that make sure that our environment remain green and sustainable. Sometimes we assume that the effect of climate change will end up affecting us directly. Uh, in most part of Kenya, especially in Western Kenya, uh, uh, climate change have caused different diseases, but communicable and non-communicable diseases together with heat-related illnesses like heat stress and heat stroke. Those are some of the diseases which have affected most people in Western Kenya due to climate-related cases. In response to the growing number of engaged youth organization in the intergovernmental
So,
climate change processes, we have also seen minimal cases in relation to climate change. Most youth and the NGOs have been admitted by the United Nations framework for Convention of Climate Change, allowing them to receive official information to participate in the meeting and receive logistical support to the United Nations framework Convention of Climate Change conferences. Youths in Kenya, I can say that youth in Kenya have continued to form a pact with international bodies so as to get finance to advocate for environmental matters. Over 1,000 youths have already completed climate change challenges badge development by Food and Agricultural Organization. The World Association of Girls and Girl Scout Youth and United Nations Global Alliances are one which plays a major role as stakeholders when we talk about matters climate change and sustainable development goals. Since 2004, majority of Kenya's youths, more than 4,500 participants participated in annual UNEP Tunzas, international conference representing over 1,000 countries and covering number of issues ranging from climate issues to greener economy and green job. Human activities such as use of fuel foils, fossil fuels, deforestation, and unsustainable agriculture have contributed to the climate change, which with decrease the availability of nutritious food and clean water, destroy the ecosystem and secure a living environment. What I can say is that youths uh, constitute the majority in our population in Kenya and have an increasing strong social environmental awareness, which has the power to transform our society towards the low carbon and climate resilience future. The United Nations recognized the role of youth play in tackling climate changes and work closely with the Youth Led and Youth Focuses organization around the world through the United Nations Joint Framework Initiative on Children, Youth and Climate Change. As we continue to see that COP27 is important in our country, Kenya, I cannot fail to touch on the importance of COP27 in our country, Kenya, since we are expecting as a country, Kenya, to know more about mitigation measures to severe droughts which are affecting northern part of our country, mostly Kajiado and Narok. Kajiado and Narok are counties in northern Kenya, which is being affected by mostly, let's say, this climate change, rendering most people to mitigate and cost some lives. We have witnessed as a country a lot of waif among children population who have ended up homeless due to the continued drought in our country. We are raising such issues affecting some part of Kenya since it is important to mention the loss and benefits of climate change. As I recall, during COP26 conferences of parties held in Glasgow 2021, world leaders, including Kenya former president, I can say Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, plead to strengthen the ambition toward collective climate action. Between 2014 and 2016 February 2022, Kenya Ministry of Health held a 3-day workshop to develop a roadmap for achieving climate change action and health-related commitment made by Kenya during COP26. The workshop was held at Naivasha. Naivasha is one of the county was supported by the AFIDEP and AMREF Kenya. It also benefited from virtual technical input by representatives from London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and the World Health Organization. They have been the stakeholder during this workshop. The workshop brought together all key stakeholders from government as well as non-governmental organization with an aim of one was to reflect on the implication of the commitment made during the COP26. The second was to map out the stakeholder involvement in the climate change and health action. During the COP26, which was held between 31st October to 12th November 2021, the government of Kenya made climate change health committed. That includes one, it was to develop a health system that is resilient by the impact of climate change by conducting a climate change and hygiene vulnerability to adopt which was to be adopted by 30th June next year. The second one, our president was to develop a health system that is suitable, that is sustainable with low carbon emission by carrying out a baseline assessment of greenhouse gases emission of health system and health facility. I can say that in Kenya, we need to take some action, even if our president is going to held in COP27, which will be held at Egypt. In Kenya, we have witnessed mostly in eastern part of our country, famine which has affected most schools, rendering most of lives, and some children have been affected, mostly the school-going children. Last week, I remember our president, William Samoei Ruto, uh, he made some of the some response which will take action during the country when we are continuing. He said that he will increase tree and more than 30% by 2032. He said also that he will grow, he will make sure that the country has grow 5 billion trees in the next 5 years and addition 10 billion by 2032, securing and protecting public forest, rehabilitating and restore all delegate water toward and other forest ecosystem. As we continue, we are seeing that our country is heading towards a greener economy. Last week, we launched a bus is which use diesel, and this is a great achievement which our former president, made during the COP26. Let me finish by saying that action cannot be taken by anyone if we youths have not play a major role in making sure that we have head to the greener economy. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, John, for your talk today. And even though you don't share the slides, your talks was crystal clear and understandable for us. Thank you for that one. And next, and if you have any questions, you can ask, dear participants. And if no, then we can move to the next speaker of the day. Mm, any questions? Yes, I think somebody raised his hand. So you can ask the questions. You can turn on the mic and ask the questions.
Yes, good afternoon, all. Matthew from Nigeria. First, I would like to appreciate every one of us, the organizers, and my brother from Kenya that just finished presenting his speech. Really, you said something a lot, and what you said is something that have gone across the whole African nations. Um, when you talk about climate change and the losses that African countries have really gone through in some of the climate changes, you will see that we've really lost a lot, and most often the government do not pay attention to them. I'm happy like the instances you've given your that the president is really working on that, and that is a plus. I think that is a good practices that other countries should adopt. And from your last words, truly, without the youth, I think there will be a lot of damages to the nation if youth do not sit up now to advocate for climate justice, climate actions, and even the awareness and how to educate the whole populace. I really thank you so much. It's just like not a question, but I really want to appreciate you for what you have presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the questions and your talk. So next one will be the Abraham. I believe Abraham is already present here. And Abraham,
Yes, I'm
please,
present.
yeah, please be ready with your PPT. Okay. And actually, Abraham, he's a student at Mount Kenya University in Kenya and pursuing the bachelor's degree in education art. And he's a youth leader from Kenya who is passionate about leaderships and environmental conservation. And it's over to you. Yeah, Abraham. And John, can you just yeah? Oh, sorry, it's fine. I can see the slides of Abraham now.
I'm sharing it in a few.
Yeah. Thank you.
I hope you can see my screen.
Uh, yes,
Yeah,
we
I'm
can see
opening
now.
up I'm trying to open my slide.
Okay.
Just all on.
Uh, uh,
Yeah,
yes,
got
please.
it. So I'm going to talk about, as my screen is preparing to show itself. I'm going to talk about implication of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in my country. I come from Kenya, as you heard from introduction. Yeah, hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see your slides.
You can see.
Yeah, can you let us play? So if it is play, then we can see individual slides. The tool next to tool, there is a play option.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
Yes. Yes. Now it is only one slides. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, my topic is about implication of United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in my country. And before I speak about these Sustainable Development Goals implication in my country, allow me to define SDGs and give a little brief history of Sustainable Development Goals. Uh, in October 2016, the head of states globally endorsed the new Global Development Agenda on Sustainable Development Goals. It was an historic moment in which the world embarked on new development goals. After that, what was known as Millennium Development Goals that ended in 2015. Before general submission to Nations, United Nations Task Force went through widespread and open consultation, listening to various ideas from different states, civil society, and stakeholders. The whole process led to the arrival into 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, that is just a brief authenticity of Sustainable Development Goals. The goals aims to bring about positive changes for sustainable development at the global and international level through incorporating environmental sustainability and social development. It includes goals concerning climate change and urban development, as well as goals on social development such as poverty, education, and social justice. Just for the purpose of clarity, uh, allow me to mention the 17 goals in order. The goal number one, that is no poverty, zero anger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And lastly, the goal number 17, that is partnership for the goals. All of the above mentioned goals All of the above mentioned sustainable development goals are based on 6 principles, namely people, dignity, prosperity, justice, partnership, and planet. Ladies and gentlemen, tracing back to history and the process of coming up with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, we can all certain that the goal serves as a major implication to a country development. Through daily observation of the problems in our country, none of the problem lies outside 17 SDGs. Therefore, what does that imply? What does that imply? The possible and accurate answer to this question is that we as fellow countrymen, fellow continents of Africa and the entire world, from the public servants to common citizens, we have no other option rather than implementing these goals. Leaders in our country should be at the forefront in passing the bills that will lead to implementation of these goals. Our country consists of arid and semi-arid regions, which have been widely affected by the issue of climate change. Many young people are dying of starvation and malnutritious diseases. The remedy to this problem is inviting and implementation of most climate ideas, as it has been indicated by United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 13, that is climate action. Ignorance, uh, sorry, ignorance to sustainable development goals is a suicidal bomber. We shall not only kill ourselves, but kill our generation. Our generation relies on us to act now. Our call to action will save lives and generations, but our call to excuses will mean killings and destruction. Sustainability should be our priority in order to bring phosphorus life. SDGs will promote environmental sustainability in ensuring health of our planet. It will build our country capacity to track its progress towards the goal. In our industries, the goal will shape the business environment. And for the better, we have to use this momentum and keep pushing towards achieving the goals so that we can create a better world for us all. Let us take action. Let us build our sustainability. Let us participate in all activities that will lead to implementation of sustainable development goals. My call to my fellow people in my country is that it is now the time to work. We don't have another time. It is time for action. Thank you very much. My name is Abraham Tulel, representing Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your talk. So now I would like to call back Dushmi from Africa. I think he had some technical problem earlier, and I believe he resolved it and comes back. Yeah. He was in the
Hello.
Yes, Sharon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're supposed to speak in the last time, and if you are last week, but if you are ready in this week, you are welcome to speak. No problem. Sharon, right? Hello. I think she has some technical issues there. The farm Vinayak and then Sharon. Okay, I think those people have some technical errors, and we have Michael here today, and Michael is supposed to speak in the last week or the 16th of October, the first day, but he had some issues at that time, so he requested us to join today, and he is here, and my colleague Aishu will share his slides for you, people, and I hope he is ready. Are you ready, Michael? Michael? Actually, he's the founder and CEO. He's the founder and CEO of Group B Academia RD Congo, and he is an expert in the beekeeping. And hope he will deliver a lecture now, Mr. Michael. And Aishu will
Yes,
share his
thank you.
slides. Okay, and I believe he will be the last speakers of today's session. Thank you, Michael, for joining with us. And Aishu.
Okay, thank you once more. I'm Takule Utsapu Michael, the Chief Executive Officer at Academia Group, which is organized the training center for guiding youth and activities. And I have to thank all the organizer for this special session, which is just there to facilitate us to share our different experiences so that we have learned more from the beginning up to now. I mean, they'll be sharing my presentation so that we may just go on. As it's just as we are in a French country, please allow me to give you the summary of it. And it will be just how we can strengthen people who are around the protected area by promoting beekeeping as well. This is my topic and how we can just be engaged in it. And before talking about this topic, I have to remind you that I personally am a beekeeper from 11 years up to now. And I learned this from my father, who is a beekeeper. From 74 up to now, he's running beekeeping. So beekeeping, it's not a career for me, but it's my life. And now, when I would like to share with you how beekeeping it can be one of the activities which it can solve, and which can facilitate people to protect our protected areas. It's gonna be just the key of what we are about to get in this presentation. Next slide. So the loss of the biodiversity, it requires more attention of everyone to try to see how it can preserve lives of plants, animals, and human. And due to the climate change implication, we need to integrate beekeeping as well. The forest and the protected areas do play a huge role to maintain the climate change. Next slide. Unfortunately, our protected area are just attacked by population which are just around by looking the kind of living, by looking life. And this is because it's due the false practices which they are making, so that protected area are just they are just attacked by different activities like brokenness and like burning colonies, like looking honey without a good practice, and by using chemical products with agribusinesses, and with even other practice which are just very toxic for the living of pollinators. And beekeeping and other commercial activities which are just coming out are one of activities which have been forgotten by our politician leaders and even politician deciders. That's why we need to share this opportunity as beekeeping and all other activities like propolis, jelly royal, and other activities, so that it may be one of activities which can be focused, which can be well organized in different levels and in different planification. Next slide. And then in more areas, the significant volume of honey is getting by using different techniques which are not adapted to the life of pollinators, and that's why beekeeping practice have been just one of activities to require capacity building to some of those beekeepers who have already been running. So that's why we have realized that most of people are talking about beekeeping. Cause they need honey, but apart that's why we have said those apart from those who have already been trained, those who are harvesting honey without being formed, they are enemies of development. They are just they are killing colonies without knowing the role of the pollinators in our being. And then a beekeeper is someone who could just provide beehives, who could just give food to pollinators, and food for bees is just fruitful trees which could be planted here and there, so that trees can be just being just flowers, and fruits could be in abundance, and honey is gonna be flowing around our different forests. And then a beekeeper is someone who could control, who could even check which kind of disease have already attacked their different colonies. But the interest of a beekeeper is just not only to get honey, but it can get some sub products of beehives, such as wax, propolis, and jelly roll, and pollen, and venom, and so on. So other products which have been listed here are somehow ignored by beekeepers. They are used to be focused on honey without considering those sub products which can contribute to for income of our communities, and to see how our countries can come out from the poverty which it have been just provided by different products from beehives, and to try to see how it can facilitate to get a good pollination, and to facilitate bees to protect better our conservation plants, and to facilitate us to get more food, because once we're gonna have more pollinators, and gonna have more food around our protected areas, around our gardens, around our different cultures which have already planted here and there. Because most of our engineers, or most of our communities, they are just using agribusiness by using chemical products which are very toxic to the living of pollinators. Although pollinators is one of factor which could facilitate us to get more honey, and to try to see how it can be just done. That's why they said someone who is just harvesting honey without any method is just an enemy for himself and for our community. Next slide. Next slide, please. This it was just a picture which we have taken while just recording some documentaries where we would like to promote education and environment, and there are 4 results which we would like to be implemented here and there so that we may make sure that pollinators are well protected. The first one is to implement in our different cities some mechanism of how we can protect different colonies in our towns, because most of colonies are in schools and hospitals, but at last they used to be killed by chemical products by intellectuals who have been just saying we have to protect our nature. So in different towns we could have bees ambassadors so that they could facilitate those different colonies to be just well protected. The second, we could just organize different capacity building of beekeepers about standard practice of beekeeping. And in this case, we have realized that most of beekeepers they are running their business by their own. There are no other activities where we can just integrate the standard norms, which it can facilitate them to grow their productivity. The Fed would like to get a common market of honey and sub-product of beehives through different cooperatives. Even those agriculture cooperatives, which could be just facilitating beekeepers to be well organized, to be gaining more money, because they can be having honey but getting market, it seems to be very complicated. Such as in my country, there are more beekeepers who are still throwing wax and other sub-products without knowing. But we need a program which it can facilitate them to create a common market, which it can facilitate beekeeping to be just as an excellent green entrepreneurship, which it can facilitate to contribute for the life of humanity. At last, would like to initiate youth for green entrepreneurship, so that they could just try to see how they can promote different activities such as agribusiness, which is going to respect the life of pollinators, and to try to see how they can just be ambassadors. Because if nowadays we may say we are facing food insecurity, it's because of youth, because we do have 70% of youth are just unemployment and are fed by 30% of parents. And now to try to see how we can avoid the wave of food security, we could just integrate youth in agribusiness so that they can contribute for the life of the humanity, and to try to see how we can solve this problem of food security. Next slide. Next slide, please. Hello, would you just facilitate me to reach? Okay, this is the last. We have just Albert, who said in his in his research, where you have been talking about ecology. He said if bees could, we could come back to the last before this one. We have a quotation of Albert, which I would like to let know people so that we may. Because there is no, while we're gonna have no pollinators, we're gonna be having no plants, animals, and we'll never be getting more people. That's why it's time for us to try to see. Okay, thank you. It's the place which I've been saying. Albert said, if bees could just disappear in the surface of any territory, people or human will never be living for more than 4 years, because we have plus we have more bees, and less we have more pollination, and we have more plants, and we'll have more animals, and we'll have more people. And now today, beekeeping, it has been one of our activities of our one of domain which it attract more people, so that we could try to see how we can get. And now, if someone is still getting honey and other products of beehives without any information about beekeeping, he's just an enemy of the development. He's just destroying our nature, and he's destroying himself. Protecting the bees, it's just to save the human and contribute to the biodiversity and to maintain the climate change. At last, we say, please, all of us, let's be ambassadors of an environment by protecting bees. Thank you for all by listening. I'm Michael Kakule, the Chief Executive Officer of Academia Group DRC. Your different questions will be most welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Michael, for your presentation. And in your presentation, you were discussing about the importance of the bees in nourishing the biodiversity. And as you said, yeah, they are playing very vital role for our biodiversity enrichment through they are pollinators, and they are maintaining the biodiversity to grow very well. Okay, thank you for your presentation, and it was insightful. And I hope today we can wind up the sessions by his talk. We had a couple more people, but I'm not sure why they don't join today. Maybe they have some connectivity issues or something else. And I hope all the participants enjoys today's sessions. And to next session will be on the 13th of October.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and I believe everyone will join for our that section too. Okay. And thank you so much everyone for joining today. And if you have any queries to Michael, then now you can turn on your mic and ask the questions. Anyone, you can raise your hands, then I can call your name, and one by one you can ask the questions. Yes, I saw one hand raised. Yep, then you can ask the questions to him. Is it Morphin? I think it's Morphin. Morphin. Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, you can ask the
Hello.
question. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm with this calling from Kenya. I'm one of the delegates. Have not yet presented my presentation, so I was asking if will it be that time next session
You're supposed to
is
present the
when
next
will
section,
I
right?
present it? Yeah.
Actually, we schedule your talk on 30th of October. I think so, or anything.
So likely am I supposed to be presenting it coming the next session?
Now let me go through the files once again. Yes, your talk is scheduled for 13th of October. So I hope you can do in that day, because it's already more than two hours. So
Okay, thanks for that.
yeah, if you could inform us earlier, then it was possible, but I you don't inform us earlier regarding it, and expecting your presentation on 30th of October. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So, I believe we can wind up the session for today. It is going to be nearly 2 hours or more than 2 hours. So, I'm thanking all the participants as well as the delegates who joined today. And today we had nearly 7 delegates out of 8. It's a good number. And thank you for your patience to hear our event. And I'm expecting your participations in the upcoming days as well. In the last day, that means the October 13th, we will share a feedback link and we will give the certificates, as we said, to both delegates as well as the participants. And in case of participants, we could give the certificate to those who attended all the 3 days. And we will share that feedback link on the 13th. And if you fill the form, then definitely we will share the certificates with you. Okay, so please try to join in all the 3 sessions, and we will consider if someone is joined at least two sessions like today and next one. We could provide the certificates too. Okay, and Nancy, yes.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, good. And do you have
Greetings
any
from
special
Kenya.
questions?
I think I didn't see the link for registering participation.
No, as a delegate.
Yes, as a delegate,
Yeah,
yes.
no, but we called for delegates nearly 1 month back, and we sort out the list of the delegates, and it was a one to 1.5 months continuous process, and it's already closed.
Sorry?
Yeah, actually, selection of delegates was nearly 1 month process, and we already
Mm-hmm.
have a fixed delegates for the event for now. And if
Mm-hmm.
you wish to be a delegates, then whenever we organize our upcoming events, then you can be one. Okay.
Oh, so like for this session, I was late?
Yes. Yes. Actually,
Oh,
we called for this event's delegations nearly 1 month back. And
oh,
yeah,
but
so
I think also someone today sent me an invitation on email, or
yeah, that one
what
is for
happened?
joining the session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that one is for joining the
So,
session because you are registered to participate.
yes, so if I'm registered to participate, does the organization get a certification of participation?
Yes, that's I just tell you. Like, if you will get it two kind of certificates, one for the participation and one for the
Mm,
delegation. And for the
mm,
participation, you should make sure that you are attended 2 day event. Like, it is a 3 day event in three consecutive Sundays, like October 16th and 23rd and 13th. So if you
mhm,
join two of those, then you will get a
mm.
participation certificate, and we will
I
share.
did participate. Sorry?
If you join at least two of those sessions, then
Mhm.
you will get the certificate. We have 3 sessions
Oh,
in this event.
mhm,
If you at
mm,
least join 2 sessions and fill the
mm.
feedback form, then you will get the certificate, and feedback form
Mm.
we will share at the last, like on 13th
At
we
the
will
last
share.
one,
Yeah, we will share.
next week.
Yeah, next week.
Okay, because I participated, I think, last Sunday and this Sunday.
Okay, but we
Yeah.
will ask some questions in the feedback also to make
Mm,
sure you were there. So,
mm.
yeah, that's it. You just need to answer that one, and we will give you the certificates. Okay,
Okay.
and for the delegates, it will be a separate certificate of delegation for the
Mm.
event. Yeah, that we know the people who give the talk. You already have their data, so we will give them
Oh,
separate
the
certificate.
delegation. I think someone told me I was late to submit, I think, my photo or something, which is still fine.
For the delegation for this event, it's already closed. Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's what they told me.
Yeah, it is already finished. That was
It's
a
not all
three-stage
right.
process. Somebody stepped down by second process, and who cracked the three sessions, they are in in this event now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
thank you. And hope we can wind up our session today. And if you have any questions regarding our events, like this pre-COP, and hopefully we will organize a post-COP after this one, but that will be a discussion forum. So if you want to know more about us, or if you want to participate in our events, you are welcome. You can write to us. And okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night for today. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Just a picture.